because of their yellow card situation. And it
Yes.
was only Chouameni who received a yellow card, which I was shocked because with Vinny, like I was like, oh, he's gonna get one.
I
But
thought Camavinga would have got one as well, personally. I was really impressed with Camavinga up until like the 50th, 55th minute, and that's when his kind of legs just dropped as well. He got toyed by Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva just interchanging afterwards as well. But they were
yeah,
very, very lucky to get away with a yellow card. That foul on Foden by Camavinga as well, especially, I thought that guaranteed a yellow card as well, which would have been crazy to think about. Um,
yeah, definitely lucky for Madrid. Missing Chouameni, so it'll be interesting to see who comes in and plays center back alongside Rudiger. Is Alaba going to be fit? I'm not too sure, but it's a big loss for them regardless.
who have they got left in centre back? Have they got Nacho still and Vallejo?
Nacho's there. Militao was on the bench. He's just come back from his, 6 month long injury or whatever it was. He's been gone, but he was on the bench. So I'd say they might give him a start at this point. But yeah, Nacho, and then we'll see about Alaba.
Yeah, it should be good as well. Right, the live stream's begun, the recording's begun. Let's crack on with it, Sarah, shall we? I mean, what an incredible night of Champions League football, the final night of Ramadan, as I mentioned earlier, and you mentioned earlier as well. We have been treated to an absolute feast tonight in Champions League football. I'm looking at some of these games, some of these players, and I'm thinking it could look a bit one-sided for one of these teams. Manchester City, I thought, would dominate against Real Madrid, and they did to an extent. But from my point of view, I thought Man City should have gone away with the win. Jack Grealish wasn't as clinical as I hoped he would have been, especially with the hopes of him getting back into the England side for the European Championships. Phil Foden was an absolute maestro in that midfield as well. Him and Bernardo Silva rotating between right mid and centre attacking mid, always changing and interchanging. It made their defense so much more confused. Rudiger and Mendy just couldn't handle the both of them as well, from what I saw as well. What was your first thought, Sarah, on the Manchester City versus Real Madrid game, from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, where to start? What a match. Like this was what we all as the neutral fans were waiting for. This was the blockbuster, the marquee matchup of the quarterfinals, and a 3-3 draw at the Bernabeu in the first leg is exactly what we wanted. There was so much chaos from Bernardo Silva scoring just 2 minutes in off of a free kick. The back and forth, City were up, Real goes up, they draw, like it was brilliant. To me, I actually thought Real Madrid were going to win this game, not because of this
Really?
match, just going into this match. Because listen, you're playing Manchester City, the best team in the world. You've lost them now twice, back to back in the Champions League. And the second match is at the Etihad, and City have been clinical at the Etihad this season. So for me, I was thinking if Madrid lose this match at the Bernabeu, it's going to be long for them. It's going to be really difficult for them to then go to the Etihad and have to win. A
True.
draw's not bad, but I really thought they were going to have to get a win. I guess I mean a draw just means now it's literally it's one match. It's one match all on the table because nothing carries over anymore.
Do or die now as well when you're looking at it and you're looking at that amazing start for Manchester City. I mean, you mentioned on the group chat as well that Bernardo Silva free kick was absolutely fantastic. I saw it as a goalkeeping error. I'm looking at
Yeah,
Lunin and I'm thinking, what is this guy doing? He's overthinking. He's assuming that it's going to be a cross. And when you've got two players over the ball like that as well, you're like, you don't want to assume. And then Bernardo Silva with the genius, the creativity, the vision to actually score that goal and to have that power. Fantastic start to the game. What was your thoughts on Bernardo Silva tonight at the Santiago Bernabeu?
I think he was Manchester City's best player. I think he was so important for them. We were speaking about Rodri before we started recording here, but Rodri was a bit slow to get into the game. But once he was in the
Mm,
game, he was absolutely there. But Bernardo Silva, from start to finish, was absolutely incredible going after everything. You saw him drop back and help with the defense as well. When, Stones or Akanji were getting caught by Vinny, he was running back, trying to sweep up the mess. He was so, so good today. Really, just it goes to show you, like, still so underrated. Brilliant, just brilliant performance from him. He's got to be getting some love from Pep right now for sure.
definitely. I mean, we had no Kevin De Bruyne in the starting lineup. You mentioned as well that he was ill. He wasn't feeling himself before going onto the pitch as well. So that was worrying for Manchester City going into the game without Kyle Walker as well, without Nathan Ake. But Manchester City held their own, especially in that midfield battle, which I was predicting to be a very big battle with the likes of the young guns from the Real Madrid point of view of Valverde, of Camavinga, of Jude Bellingham, and of course we're talking about Tony Cruz, who isn't so much of a young gun as well, but they were playing against Kovacic, Rodri, Foden, Bernardo Silva, who have been there and done that consistently this season as well in all three competitions that they're in. But it was a really good battle, and I found that the tactics for Real Madrid very, very strange as well, playing with two left wingers on. Vinny was in a free role as well. Jude Bellingham was kind of just tracking back, making sure that he's cutting the passing lanes as well. Were you a bit surprised by how Carlo Ancelotti was a bit more defensive at home as well in the Santiago Bernabeu versus Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, Sarah?
I mean, not so much because look at City had to like it took 2 minutes for them to go up. And so I
Mm,
think Carlo Ancelotti was also assuming these guys are going to come in hot because they know if they get a result here, it's going to be really difficult for us. So I think we have to let, you know, I think the roles were kind of reversed at the beginning because I thought maybe City would allow Real Madrid to carry the ball and just go off the counter, but it was kind of the other way around. Real Madrid were letting City hold on to the possession at the beginning of the match and just see what happens. And yeah, that's why maybe that's why they switched up that positioning a little bit. But I think in the end, it ended up kind of equaling itself out. Like you saw players shifting positions a lot. And I mean, it was one of those games where it was like, whatever works at this point, like just go crazy. Because I mean, by what? By the 14th minute, it was 2-1 Madrid. Like there had
yeah.
been 3 goals. That's incredible.
It was a great game to start off with as well in this week's version of the Champions League quarterfinals, this season's version of the Champions League quarterfinals. But I'm looking forward to seeing how Real Madrid can actually fight back into this game because there's not going to be no true menu. We mentioned earlier before it may have to be Nacho. Maybe Militao gets back. Maybe he's rested for the La Liga game on the weekend to actually acclimatize for this big game coming up at the Etihad next week. And this is when, Zara, we're looking at the Champions League going consistent weeks now as well. There's no longer a 2-3 week break between games. It's week on, week off, and we're back
Yeah.
into it. They're in the thick of it as well, which is great to see. But with Real Madrid, when I'm looking at them this season, I'm thinking they relied a hell of a lot on Jude Bellingham, and I'm looking at their strength and depth as well. We looked at Brahim Diaz, the Moroccan international, coming off the bench, really didn't set the team alight when he came on. Joselu as well, being subbed on for Vinicius Junior, didn't really work well for him as well. But I think their star performer for me personally was Antonio Rudiger. We
Oh my
saw,
God. A wall. You couldn't get past him. Who's
I mean,
Holland?
Haaland doesn't exist against Antonio Rudiger. You mentioned it. I think we put the reel out today as well. The reel out today was about how Haaland could become the top scorer, and you were like, "Nah, Hamza, he's not going to be the top goal scorer. Not against Antonio Rudiger." 20 touches in the game for Erling Haaland versus Real Madrid. One shot on target, no dribbles completed, no assists, no goals. Rudiger kept him in his back pocket until the 90th minute. The only thing I saw from Erling Haaland was when he was tracking back to stop Vinicius Junior on a
Yeah, that one
counter
play.
attack. I was like, that's good defending. That's good right back speed there from
You
Erling
just got
Haaland.
to stood in front of him.
He's like, yeah, you can't get around me at all unless you
Yeah.
do a Rabona of it. But it's very worrying that Erling Haaland, once again, not showing up in the big game for Manchester City in the Champions League and relying on his midfield partners around him to get him out of this mess, really, because that was a big game for Haaland to go and say, you know what, this is where I'm going to stand up now at the Santiago Bernabeu. Let's say your thoughts on Haaland again, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, he was non-existent in this game. And I mean, I think at one point they also stopped feeding him a little bit because it didn't seem like anything was connecting anyways. I think
Mm.
that's why Phil Foden ended up going for that, shot outside the box because somebody had to. And then we saw Vardy do the same thing moments later. That was the only way they were going to score because they have the one man in the middle there who's in the box but can't convert anything. There was a moment in the second half when Bernardo Silva had the ball outside of the box and he was trying to get the ball to Holland. And Holland, instead of running towards the net, because Bernardo Silva ended up shooting and potentially he could have gone for a rebound, Holland crosses the box, going to the left side. Like there are certain things when I'm still watching him, and this is why I'm critical of him because I know everyone goes back to it. Well, he still has this many goals in the Premier League and last season, everything he did. Totally. But when I watch this guy play, there's no technique. He doesn't know how to.
He has no plan B. Erling,
Oh,
Erling Haaland has no plan B about him. And we saw that
no,
today.
absolutely not. And it's just one of those things where it's like you're a striker, like go to the net if they're going to take a shot because there's a good chance it's going to go off and rebound off the keeper. So you smash that in. These are, to me, these are such, you know, like things like you learn foundational kind of things that you learn in football when you're a kid. And he doesn't have those things. And that's why his technical ability isn't there. But yeah, I'm not shocked at all. I knew Phil was going to show up in this game, and he did, and good for Guardiola as well. That was a screamer. But
First goal for Man City with his weak foot outside the box to make it 3-2 for Manchester City
yeah,
at the Santiago Bernabeu. Tell
Yeah,
them who you are, Josko Gvardiol. What a player you are. I mean,
yeah, it
Messi
was
devalued
the
him at
last.
the World Cup, but his value went up 50 million tonight as well.
There
Jeez,
you
man.
go. Yeah,
Great
no, it was
finish.
the less dominant foot too. It's just all class from him. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. I was a bit shocked that they Pep Guardiola waited so long to bring on Julian Alvarez. I thought he could have also Jeremy Doku. I was a bit shocked didn't get any playing time either. I think that's kind of a player you want to go against Real Madrid, just in terms of body type as well. Jeremy Doku's a big guy. Real Madrid are big players overall. You kind of want somebody that can muscle their way in, and that's Doku. But I do think we'll see a lot of subs at the Etihad because I mean Kevin De Bruyne missing in this game. We have to remember City were missing their best player because their best player is in Holland. It is Kevin De Bruyne, and
I thought you were going to say Kyle Walker then for a second. I was like, yes, she's finally agreed to me.
well,
Kyle
I mean,
Walker.
Kyle Walker is also a massive loss, but I don't
Big,
know
big
if he's
miss.
going to be back by then.
I'm looking at the game as well from the Real Madrid points of view as well. Vinicius Jr. Remember, 6 dribbles completed, 4 chances created, 2 assists, 2 tackles, one as well. He was at his creative best, just like Phil Foden was as well. Both technical players on each side, the best technical players I would say on each side were incredible tonight as well. And Akanji got that yellow card really early on in the game against Rodrigo, and he potentially could have been sent off as well. But there was a big, big miss from Kyle Walker, especially in the defensive final third as well against Real Madrid. But Vinicius Jr. was absolutely fantastic. And again, Akanji couldn't handle him as
No.
well. But I don't think this Real Madrid side can handle Kevin De Bruyne at the Etihad. Bernardo Silva once again at the Etihad as well. Phil Foden, if he does recover from this injury at the
Ederson
Etihad.
did a play as well. Well,
But I mean,
listen.
after that, what did he do against them? Crystal Palace? He did a drag back as well, Ortega. You're like,
Yeah,
this guy is just playing for fun these days as well. It's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Absolutely
No, there's going
incredible.
to be a lot of changes. I think. Well, maybe not a lot, but yeah, just the insert of KDB and potentially Kevin De Bruyne, Kyle Walker. Sorry,
Mm,
that's massive for City. That's huge. Like if anything, right now Real Madrid are going down without Chouameni, who has been a starter for them this entire
yeah.
season. So
It,
yeah, at the Etihad, it's going to be tough. But like I said at the beginning here, it's kind of a one-off game. Yes, they've had this match, but it doesn't mean anything since it was a draw. This
true.
just win the game, and that's why. Let's see how the next week goes of football and this weekend and how each team does. But I don't know. It's going to be great. I'm so excited.
It is so, so good as well. It was a great cameo from Luka Modric as well, coming off the bench and bring a bit more, bring in a lot more calmness as well to this Real Madrid side, which they definitely needed because they could have just faltered from what I saw as well in that second half. But I'm looking at it, I'm thinking Vinicius Jr., he had a few different chances. But I thought, you know what, take them on again. He could have taken them on again. It would have been great to see more of Vinicius Jr. showing a bit more about his aura, a bit more about his presence. If he does want to be one of the best players in world football, he has to sometimes take the harder route going forward. And even Ancelotti on the sidelines was saying to Vinny Jr.'s like, calm down a bit, take it easy,
Well,
give him the easy route as well. And he just didn't do it. And he just frustrated himself and his team even
yeah.
more because he wasn't tracking back as much as well. Did you notice that as well, Sarah?
No, I'm actually shocked he didn't get a yellow because I thought if there's one guarantee in this match, it's Vinny getting a yellow because he's always kind of
Rattled.
yeah, he's rattled, he's emotional, but he also likes to get under another player's skin. That's something that he plays for all the time. So for me, I was thinking, I mean, obviously, if he got one, he'd miss the game, so he had to be a bit smarter. But he really wasn't being smart. I think he kind of got away with it. There were a couple chances where I was like, that could have been a yellow. It might have been a weak one, but when he was going up to the referee, him and Bellingham both were getting in the ref's
Don't
face.
start on Bellingham. Bellingham had a disaster class today.
Oh,
Oh, he showed the world that he may not be
you're
the best player in
carrying
the
a
world
yellow
right now.
though. You're
Mm.
carrying a yellow. Like I don't know, man. Yeah, Bellingham wasn't belly goal today for sure. He was
Ah,
he
he
was
played against a real defense, a real team, what he's playing against as
yeah.
well. He had no one allowing him a free run in the last minute in the box as well. He was there like, no, I'm gonna have to be defending a lot more than usual now as well. And it's crazy to see how he's just phased out the game. Is that a nice way of putting it? It's the
Well, when
honest
you
way of
have
putting it.
something like Rodri in front of you, it's not going to be easy, right? Like
It's
that
true.
was really tough for him. He had little moments where he was playing well. I mean, that cross from Modric nearly got to him. If it did, I'm sure he would have converted that, but that was a great read by Stones. But he had a couple nice step overs and carries in the box for Madrid, but it
It's
was
more his leadership that I appreciate the most about Jude Bellingham now. You're seeing him now calming the players down, 20 years of age. He's got that aura about him to calm the rest of his teammates, his experienced teammates down as well. But I don't want him to go down that route of having too much of an ego in the big games and not really delivering, because you want to see him deliver in the big games as well. We've seen some of the greatest players who have amazing egos deliver in the big games. But
Mhm.
again, when you're seeing someone in an attacking midfield role in an Englishman at the Santiago Bernabéu, it wasn't Bellingham shining, unfortunately. It was Phil Foden shining, and not just by his goal, by the fact that he was definitely just basically outclassing his peer as well. And you know me, sir, I'm a big fan, big advocate of Eduardo Camavinga, not just because he sees our social media content as well. I was like, this guy has got to be one of the top 10 wonder kids of the season so far. Fantastic player. But around 55, 56 minutes or so, that's when Foden went up a gear, and that's when Man City went up a gear to think, you know what, Camavinga is very, very lucky not to get a yellow card in this game as well, which is crazy to think about.
Definitely, definitely.
Right then, last topic on Real Madrid and Man City before we move on to Arsenal. But um, I'm going to ask you one simple question about this game. And that question is personally, I don't think Real Madrid are going to do it at the Etihad Stadium, but early predictions, Sarah, what do you think for next week?
Yeah, I'm kind of there now. I've been backing Madrid, well, up until this match because I was sure Madrid were going to win this match, and now that they haven't,
Mm,
City were without Kevin De Bruyne. I think those are two huge factors that you have to look at. So they don't have any goal advantage, and now City are bringing back their best player at home.
yeah.
It's going to be really tough. But I think if anyone could do it against City, it would be Real Madrid. I think if this was any of the other teams in the quarterfinals, I'll be like, yeah, no doubt City. I'm still leaning now towards City, but it's not a comfortable lean. I'm kind of like, well, what's over there still? It's Real Madrid. Like
I
you
can't find that final pass as well from them because you're looking at it. If you're looking at the goals as well in the Champions League, Camavinga's goal was deflected. You're then looking at Rodrigo's goal, which was a
first
counter
two were
attack.
a joke, were an absolute joke.
That was a proper jammy goal that Rodrigo won as well. Great effort running up against Kanji, by all means, great effort, but the finish was a very jammy finish nevertheless. The third goal was fantastic, really well worked goal. But they lack that number nine striker. They lack that Karen Benzema presence, dare I say, as well, because we're missing the fact that last season, again with Karen Benzema, even though they didn't win, they had a presence who they could always have a focal point. And Real Madrid didn't have a focal point. They had two left wingers floating around on the
Yeah.
left-hand side of the pitch. And there's a point when you're looking at them around three, four times in their attack. You've got five players on one side of the pitch, and then you've got Carvajal on the other side. And it's very, very easy for Real Madrid to defend against. So I genuinely think it's Man City's for the taking as well in the second leg, going back to the Etihad.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, the first two goals. The thing is with Real Madrid is they're that team, like I've said it before, where they keep going, they keep going. They score the ugly goals, but they got there. You know what I mean? And they'll
Mm.
take it. But yeah, I completely agree. Like if you're looking at these goals and who earned them, let's say, like City were really just at going for it completely. Whereas Madrid were kind of like a bit lucky to get away with those two, even though they still did. But yeah, it's hard not to be leaning towards City right now with this match. And like I said, without a couple of key players, let's see who they bring back. But this weekend will be really telling because they both play and then obviously back next Wednesday at the Etihad. Like so much can change since then. We're talking about Phil Foden. What's that injury looking like? Because if Phil Foden's gone, that's another massive loss for City. So we'll see. But yeah,
Definitely.
I'm leaning towards City as well with you now.
Nicely done, nicely done. I mean, it's not nice for Real Madrid fans. It's not nice for anyone else in the Premier League to see Manchester City shine. But a team that has been shining in the Premier League this season, once again, is Arsenal. And Arsenal against Bayern Munich. That was a game I was focusing on when I was watching it, and I was like, you know what, this is a game that we're expecting so much fire, so much drama, so much fireworks as well. And then pandemonium hit 90th minute. Penalty or no penalty, Sarah? What are you saying?
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty. I know you disagree with me on this one, but I just felt he was like he was trying to stop Bukayo Saka any way he could. I think Saka was trying to cut and got caught. I know from the angle, I know exactly what you're talking about. It kind of looked like Saka was trying to hit him, but I
Mm.
think he was just trying to cut and it just got tangled. Listen, the thing is nowadays penalties are really soft, right? We've seen
So, so soft. We
like
saw it in
it's
the
not,
whole last week of Manchester United. Harvey
yeah,
Elliott getting a penalty for just contact. And I'm a big advocate of not all contact in the penalty box is a penalty, but it's been like that in the Premier League. And I think that's what Bukayo Saka
yeah,
has been expected going into the Champions League as well. Whenever Arsenal have had a penalty, it's been very light contact as well, more times than not. And they've been able to convert it. They had one recently as well where Saka converted it really, really well. But
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't enough contact and he was running out of momentum. But naturally, you don't put your following leg so high on the opposition's
Mm.
player's leg as well to hit. It looked very, very suspect for me as well. And what worries me the most, Sarah, is if it's a penalty, and give it as a penalty. But if it's not a penalty, why didn't the referee give it as a dive then as well? Because he was rolling around on the floor as well. Neuer was just standing like that afterwards as well. It's crazy
It
to
was
see.
really strange because we've seen this in VAR time and time again. When the referee doesn't call it initially, usually VAR upstairs don't call it because they want to agree with the referee. So all of a
Mhm.
sudden here, the play continues. Now we're down the other side of the pitch. The ref blows the whistle. You think they're going to review it. All of a sudden, Mikel Arteta's walking onto the pitch because the match is over. Like there were so many, there was no review of it, it seemed. And you're right. Okay, if it wasn't a penalty, if it was a dive, then why aren't they reviewing that? But it was kind of just like, you know what, let's just end the game. We don't want to deal with this. But this is the issue with VAR is the consistency. Because
Lack
I
of it.
agree with Saka, if he's playing like this in the Premier League, that would have been called 10 out of 10 times. So why is that not being called now? But then if you like, there was no reviewing of it. I don't know. To me, I'm so sick of the way of VAR has interacted with this sport we love so much because it really seems like it's just causing more problems than not because there is no consistency. As a fan, we can't figure out how to watch it. We don't know what's going to happen. When we finally think we understand the rules, we're like, wait, what? Why? How are you not looking at this? Um,
So dramatic. It was so dramatic. The touchline at the end as well, with it all just run onto the pitch. Thomas Tuchel going to fight
uh,
like every single Arsenal player. You're looking at Kane and Saka arguing. Saka arguing with the referee. I've never seen him so angry before in my life. And I'm
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
this is crazy to think about as well. But it was really, really funny seeing Arsenal dominate for big parts of that game against Bayern Munich. And a lot of people go, Hamza, they didn't dominate because Bayern Munich had a lot of possession. But my theory is you don't always have to have possession to be dominating. And with Bayern Munich as well, they were playing really good counter-attacking football. But realistically speaking, I think Arsenal had it within them to finish this game off as well. The substitutions were incredible as well. Sorry, with Trossard and Gabriel Jesus coming off the bench. But let's go back to the beginning for the first goal. Did Alphonso Davies let Bukayo Saka go for that first goal? Let me hear your thoughts.
Alfonso Davies have a chance against Saka in this game. Oh my goodness, did
Crazy, right?
Saka destroyed Alfonso Davies today? Like there,
He lowered his property value. He lowered his value so much by 15 million. If Real Madrid want him, they'll pay like 35 million for him now.
yeah, yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. Well, we were talking about this, right? Because we were saying, oh, it's gonna be a great matchup. They're both super fast, these young players. Like it's gonna be such a good. Saka said, "Hold that, watch this," and literally Alfonso Davies couldn't keep up. Like it was. Bukayo Saka is
Let me
something
let me
special.
hear that again. Alfonso Davies couldn't keep Alfonso Davies couldn't keep up with Bukayo Saka. I'm lost
Doesn't
for
make
words right
sense.
now.
I
That's
can't keep
crazy.
you. No, but truly, like he did not look good. But he also early on got a yellow card. He's missing the next game. So now we have
Mhm.
to assume that's going to be Rafael Guerrero playing in that position.
You'd
But
imagine so, yeah.
that could be beneficial for Bayern Munich after what I saw today. I wouldn't want to stick Davies out there again against Saka. Are you kidding me? Like it didn't go over well whatsoever. So yeah, absolutely. Saka made that wing his own.
All those injuries for Alfonso Davies has definitely caught up to him because we notice it a lot more in the Champions League than we do in the Bundesliga with Alfonso Davies. Because when he's up against some elite players, some of the best in European football, we saw it last season against Manchester City as well, and he just couldn't keep up with Riyad Mahrez. He couldn't do it this season with Bukayo Saka so far as well. And like you said, it's going to miss the next game. I don't want it to be the end of the Alfonso Davies hype, but from your point of view, obviously being a Canadian football fan as well, Sarah, do you think that's kind of it now for Alfonso Davies at Bayern Munich and is going to go on to pass as new at Real Madrid?
Well, I mean, that's not bad.
It's not
You're going to
bad,
another
but
team.
with Real Madrid as well, it's another move when you're thinking, you know what? Is he going to be the best player there anymore? I don't think he would be at the left back. I think there are other left backs that Real Madrid could be going for, in my
Well, it
opinion.
depends who they go for because right now it's Ferland Mendy's spot, but I think you take Davies over Mendy right now. But
Mm.
completely, that's if he stays healthy. But it's something we've noticed over here in Canada too when he plays for the national team. It's not that like he still levels above everyone. He is still arguably the best player that this team has, no doubt.
And he
But
plays everywhere for Canada as well.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
mid, attacking
great.
mid,
But
left
like
wing.
you need to keep
Crazy.
pushing. Get in there. No, but it is like he's absolutely the best player we have. But we're also talking about a Canadian team. Like it's not one of the top, 20 teams in the world, not 30 teams in the world even. So like it's just, of course he's going to be the best because he's like that first player that did break through into the European level. And now there's, a few more and they've been great. Stephen Eustachio, Tajon Buchanan, Jonathan David. But we've noticed that it's the same thing when he comes back because we've seen what he is capable of.
Mm.
That I remember the last international window, I was thinking like, you're still the best, but it's not like we've seen you do better. So I definitely think it's affected him not only at Munich, but at the national team level as well. I hope though, you know what, going to Madrid, it seems like his time at Bayern is completely done. Maybe he's mentally checked out too. Maybe that could be an effect. But
That could be it. That could be it. He could mentally have just been checked out. Like, you know what? I'm going to move on to somewhere else now. And he's not playing like we're used to seeing Alphonso Davies playing the Champions League knockout stages as well.
yeah, but you're going to Real Madrid, maybe the second best team in the world right now. So not a bad place to be. And
A
yeah,
big first world problem. Very, very big first
big
world
first
problem at
world
all.
problem. But no, you're right. If they do go after any other left back, left wing there, how could that affect him? But we'll just have to see because right now, if Alphonso Davies is going to Madrid, I'd say he gets that starting role over Ferland Mendy right
Absolutely.
now, today, before any, potential injuries or other players come in. But I think it'll be good for him. I think it's time for a change. He's done everything with Bayern now. Let's see what you can do in Spain.
Definitely. It'll be great to see Alphonso Davies in new challenges as well. Maybe Rafael Guerreiro does take a really good starting spot for Bayern Munich under new
Yeah.
management in the summer as well. Bayern Munich, Harry Kane. Actually, instead of Harry Kane, Leroy Sané and Leon Goretzka. Where did those performances come from today? They were lackluster for most of the season. They were mid, as the young people say, all season. They were mid all season. Now they were fantastic. Goretzka had one of his best games in a Bayern shirt in the Champions
Through
League, and Leroy
ball.
Sané looked back to his best, minus his finishing, because his finishing was non-existent once again. But that was crazy to see how Leon Goretzka stood up in this really big test against Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard in that midfield battle as well, Sarah.
Yeah, his through ball to who to get the penalty to Leroy Sané, and then he
Leroy
got
Sané, yeah.
in the box. That was a great read. But no, they were great. They looked like the old Goretzka and the old Sané that we knew of last season, just last season, in fact. But
Mm.
they had to step up, and they did. I mean, also Serge Gnabry coming back from injury, him getting on the scoreboard early, like it's all of a sudden like all right, yeah, these Bayern does have a good team. They do have good players. Where have they been? I don't know, but they're still there. We also saw Kingsley Coman make a cameo. I'm thinking, how long have you been injured for? It's a team that has just been
Very
so,
worrying team.
yeah, they've been shambolic. They've been just going through the ups and the downs and the manager shifts, but we have to look at these players and they're still world-class players.
They're very, very good. Even Leon Goretzka today as well. 100% of his dribbles completed, 91% passing accuracy, 3 blocks, 2 clearances, 1 assist as well, like you mentioned, and 1 interception. And it's literally lockdown Goretzka is back for everyone to see as well. And
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that Arsenal let Bayern Munich be this dominant at home. And it was very worrying to see because obviously with Leroy Sané then going through on goal, getting tackled by William Saliba for a penalty, which I also thought was a very soft penalty as well. But when you're thinking about it from that perspective, maybe the Saka penalty could have been given if it was the same referee, when it was the same referee. And Harry Kane, he did a Jorginho against Jorginho's main club at the moment as well, which is great to see as well. Harry Kane silenced the Emirates Stadium once again. And I can't believe it, man. Harry Kane, top scorer of the Champions League so far this season as well. Really good performance, very, very mature performance, slowing the game down when needed to be. Amazing passing range once again from the England captain as well. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. He could finish top scorer, but could he win this game for Bayern Munich next week against Arsenal? Because he was very, very good. Jorginho couldn't get hold of him. Gabriel didn't know if whether to stay or to go with him as well. There's a big conundrum over Harry Kane here for Bayern Munich because he could lead this team into the semi-finals of the Champions League, Sarah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's going to come down to anyone for Bayern, it's going to be Harry Kane. There's no
Mm,
doubt. But here's the thing with this Arsenal team. First of all, this wasn't a great game from Saliba and Gabriel. And that's why Bayern tied this game. That is
mm.
why, because those two have been solid for Arsenal and game changing. But they don't usually have off days. So they had an off day today, which makes me think next week they're not going to because they're going to make sure. Also, what Arteta has done with this team has somehow he's kind of made them realize what their mistakes are, and then they shift everything they need to. Like this team learns from their mistakes so quickly that I think they're going to sit down, they're going to go through this game, and they're going to realize, okay, we can't do that. We got to pull, whatever they need. And I'm still thinking Arsenal are going to win this in Munich. Sorry, Munich's Allianz Stadium. That means nothing this year. Bayern have been terrible there. That's not a concern.
Just
This isn't
not in the Champions League though. They've been unbeaten in the Champions League,
okay.
haven't
Who has Bayern played in the Champions League?
they? Played Lazio, they played Man United,
All right.
Galatasaray, Copenhagen. They've played good teams nevertheless.
No, Galatasaray is, I'm sorry, but we're talking about Arsenal now, one of the best teams. Galatasaray was a good fight. Manchester United, shocking this season. Lazio, shocking. Copenhagen, it's
But
just not on the same level. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but to me, you cannot put Arsenal and those four. This is going to be their first real test. And I think Arsenal have just changed the way they think this season. And they are so pragmatic. If they lose a game, they will come off it and they will win the next one and they will learn exactly what to do. I'm still going to back Arsenal.
for me, what I think people are forgetting as well is Bayern Munich have checked out mentally from the league as well. They could rest their entire 11 on the weekend in the Bundesliga and have a fully fresh team for next week in the Champions League. Arsenal are still competing in the title race in the Premier League as well. They have a big game coming up this weekend as well. If I just check who they've
Villa.
got. Aston Villa, that's it. That's a very big time
Yeah.
to be playing them as well. Was it Sunday? They're playing Sunday 4:30 as well. Ooh, that's
Yeah,
gonna
because
be
the game will be on Wednesday. Well, listen,
yeah,
this is what we talk about. So what separates the boys from the men, if you will. This is if you
exactly.
want to compete, you got to compete and you got to play these games. But if anything, sometimes playing the higher level games and staying in the rhythm actually helps a team. I remember, a couple of years ago, Barcelona were always doing better when they played higher level teams and they played more consistently. So let's
Absolutely.
see. But I mean, at this rate, Bayern could also play their bench and I mean, it doesn't even matter. I don't even like after that game against Heidenheim this past weekend. Like they're
Our German team, our Bundesliga team. I
yeah,
messaged Leon about that as well. I told Leon, I was like, we told you we know football about Bundesliga. We told you about Heidenheim. Don't discredit us over here on Friday Night Counter Attack. Heidenheim, we're here to stay. They balled out against Bayern Munich as well. Oh
yeah.
man. But yeah, even with Harry Kane as well, 39 goals this season, 12 assists in the 38 games he's already played, 7 goals and 3 assists in the Champions League so far, having a whirlwind individual season, but it looks like everything is going against him now. My theory of Harry Kane winning a trophy before Heung-min Son is still valid. I mean, it still technically is valid, but it's more hope than expectation now looking at Bayern Munich against Arsenal as well. But I think I'll still back Bayern Munich at home. I think they're still going to be a feared team at the Allianz Arena. Arsenal will have a very big mental test as well. But like Sarah said as well, like you said, this team doesn't fear anything. It's not an Arsenal team of old. They have nothing to fear because it's a new team. They've got new players who are refreshing and energetic and fun to play. Another solid game from Declan Rice in midfield as well. Another fantastic performance again. Unfortunately from Kai Havertz as well, who's proven us wrong. He definitely is as well. Definitely getting stuck in against De Ligt and Eric Dyer, which was fantastic to see. So, great stuff there from Arsenal and from Bayern Munich. Two amazing games in the Champions League that happened tonight, and two amazing games potentially tomorrow. Sarah, what's your thoughts like? Barcelona, PSG. Oh, I'm ready for this one entirely. This is going to be a fun game entirely for me. Is it going to be fun for you from a not so neutral perspective?
No, it's going to be very stressful. But I think tomorrow's games are going to be the exact opposite of today. Today
Bore
was
draws and dulls and
yes,
nice. They weren't
yes.
bore draws, they were exciting draws, but
I think
boring games.
yeah, but like under in terms of goals scored, we're not going to see a ton of goals like today. It's
Mm.
going to be a lot of possession games, going to be playing on the counter. I don't think we'll see screamers from outside the box. It's not going to be, no one's taking risks like that. And it's going to be a lot more strategic playing, I think. But yeah, I can see like a 1-1 at the Wanda for Atleti and Dortmund. And then maybe a 2-1. The thing is, PSG are at home. This is Mbappe's time to shine. I get it. I am nervous, but Pedri and De Jong are back in the squads, confirmed.
Big news. Big news.
Big news. Lamine Yamal is still doing his thing. I feel like a Joao Felix cameo will be coming. I could see him doing really well against PSG. But I wouldn't be if it's a 1 goal difference and PSG win in Paris, I'm not going to be too stressed. I mean,
Why
come
would
back
you be? Why would you be?
come back to Barcelona and let's end this. We can take care of that. But yeah, I mean, it's been the same. It's all up to Mbappe. I mean, I don't know if you saw the managers had their press conferences today, and I guess Xavi said something like PSG are obviously the favorites. You know, they have Dembele, and I thought you're being facetious. Surely.
Luis Enrique was being facetious back as well. He was saying he represents the values of Barcelona better than Xavi does as well. I was like,
I mean, he's
ooh,
won a treble though, right? So it's
cat fight, because it's crazy
I
because
know,
you're like
weird. I thought they were like besties. Like I was like, don't do this, don't please. It's
breaking everyone in Barcelona's hearts when you're fighting like this as well. It's crazy to think, but I'm like, I don't get why they're doing this. I get why they have these issues in the press conferences, but I'm like, why would you want to rile the opposition manager up straight away? Maybe it is a very big European thing to get your fans up and going for the game. And Luis Enrique will definitely have his PSG home support going for this game as well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing my battle for today, for tomorrow, I should say, in the Champions League is definitely going to be Mbappe versus Kunde or Mbappe versus Ronald
It'll
Araujo
have
as
to be
well.
it's a double team. It's going to be Kunde and Araujo and Mbappe because you always need two for that guy.
It's true. Don't worry. I've already prepared the reel for tomorrow as well. It's something we spoke about in the reaction, which is great as well. But I'm looking at this press conference as well. These people, they have no shame. They just want to say
Oh,
whatever they want to say. This is crazy. How are you
bullshit.
feeling as a Barcelona fan? Are you feeling confident in Xavi's approach to this game so far, Sarah?
I don't really listen to that kind of stuff. I mean,
Good.
I'm looking at the lineup. I'm seeing Pedri and De Jong are back in there. Great news for me. I can't wait to see Cubarsí break Dembele's legs though. Like I am excited for this
Shock.
because
No
I think
Christensen at centre back then, no.
no, because he's kind of been playing up more and he's
But
been
then
doing well.
you got Pedri back, you got De Jong back. You then play Christensen centre defensive mid as well, double teaming maybe.
Well, that's what they're gonna do because it's gonna. I think the back line will look like Kunde, Araujo, Cubarsí, and then Joao Cancelo, and
Mm.
then just in front you'll have Christensen. Well, I mean, is Frankie gonna play? I don't know. Look what their fitness level. I don't know what this last week has looked like. But luckily for Barca, there wasn't La Liga last weekend, right? So hopefully everyone got a lot of rest and they're ready. Because if Frankie's ready, bring him in. Bring him
Yeah.
in. Absolutely.
Gundogan and Frankie de Jong or Gundogan and Pedri will be a very good defensive looking midfield with Christensen holding the back line as well. Gundogan always plays as well. Sergio Roberto, maybe?
Yes,
Maybe.
I was about to say it. He's absolutely going to make a cameo if he doesn't start because it's that Kovacic against Real Madrid today. Like it's playing the players that have been on that team. We always see it in football. It happens. It does something to the other team. The mental game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Sergio Roberto. Maybe in the second leg though. Maybe he.
Maybe at home in a different stadium this time as well. We never know.
Yeah.
Anything can happen as well, which is
I
great.
think yeah, if Barca either will win, of course, draw or lose this game, let's say like by one, don't let this game get away from you. That's it. If they
It's like in both the games today, they never let the games go away from them because they caught back up straight away. The opposition teams always
yeah,
came back in. Bayern Munich came back in respectively. Real Madrid came back in as well. And no one let the tie go away from them as well because they know it's all to play for. Their experienced teams as well, respectively Arsenal, a new team, but they had that experience to go, you know what, we're not going to bottle it just yet as well. And they didn't. I don't think Barcelona will do that against PSG. I don't think PSG will have that in them as well to lose it at home as well, personally, which would be big fun for
yeah,
them.
yeah. Well, I mean, listen, not today was not a showing of this, but a lot of the time in the first leg, the games don't tend to be as intense because
Mm.
they know there's still a second game. And for Barca, that second game is at home, right? So if they can kind of control this game, which that's why I think it might be a little bit less like lower scoring, and same with the Atleti Dortmund game because they're gonna want to take this game home and finish it off there.
It's true. It's going to be a very big game for Barcelona and for PSG. But final games to talk about as well. Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund at the Wanda Metropolitano as well. One of the best keepers in the Champions League this season, Gregor Kobel, against one of the best attacking players in the Champions League and across European football this season, Antoine Griezmann. What about that's going to be, Sarah, as well? Let's hear your thoughts on where you think Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone can do at home against Borussia Dortmund because they're two iconic stadiums, two iconic atmospheres
Yeah.
as well. No one will be bowing down in this tie at all.
I think Atleti have to win this game. I
The home
think
one.
there's more pressure on Atleti to win this game than there was for Real to win their game because Real Madrid overall are just a stronger team. But if Atleti don't win at the Wanda, which has been a fortress this season,
Mm.
and they have to go to Signal Iduna, it's going to be very, very difficult. So I think Atleti are going to control this game and they're going to win. And exactly, there's one player. His name is Griezmann, and he is an absolute
Grisou.
Grisou. He is a superstar. I was talking to my
I can't do
colleague.
it in French, by the way. I can't do it in a French accent. Can you do it in a French accent? Grisou. Antoine Grisou.
Yeah.
Can't do it at all.
But no, I was talking to my colleague at work yesterday about this, and he said something that made a lot of sense. And it's no disrespect to Dortmund, but there is no one on the same level at Dortmund that is on Antoine Griezmann's level. He is different, superstar status. There's not. There are brilliant players, and we have spoken about this whole season. But they, in my
No, you're
opinion,
right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Well, your
so
colleague was right, I should say.
yeah, so that gives Atleti the edge as well. Like that's if you're going against Griezmann, that's scary. That's scary for anyone. So it could affect Dortmund. Let's see, but I think that gives Atleti a massive advantage. They have to get the Wanda shaking tomorrow, and they need to win, even if it's a 1-0. Well, I think this one is also going to be it's going to be low scoring. I don't think it's going to be out of control. But if Atleti lose, I think that might be it for them. I can't see them going because the thing is, remember the Inter game? It was the reverse fixture, right? So they were away first and came home. Now the
Yeah.
opposite, and like they had to take Inter to penalties. With Dortmund, I can't see them doing that if they have to go and play away after. So I'm very confident Atleti will win because they have to. There's no other choice.
A few facts on the game as well tomorrow as well. Atletico Madrid have only lost two games of their last 33 home games as well. One of them
Real
against
Madrid?
Barcelona. Yeah. No, one of them against Barcelona. You beat them
Yeah,
3-0,
yeah.
remember, at home.
Real and Barca.
It was Atletico Bilbao in February. The
What
Real
was?
Madrid game was a draw at home,
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
which is
Yeah.
cool. And then Borussia Dortmund, they're on a five-match winning streak currently in the Bundesliga as well. So they're looking back. Bundesliga, and when you think about it,
Oh, they just
they
lost to Stuttgart over the weekend.
yeah, it was ended by Stuttgart as well. So I was going to say
Oh,
their five-game winning streak was halted by Stuttgart
oh,
on the
okay.
weekend, but it was meant to be five games and the Champions League game they won against PSV at home as well. But I'm looking at this game thinking, you know what? Dortmund have a chance of winning, and I don't think Dortmund would have picked anyone else in this draw besides Atletico Madrid with the two different styles of play that they have as well. Dortmund have challenged PSG, Newcastle, AC Milan this season. They've had some really good ties in the Champions League, and everyone, including you and I, Sarah, have written Borussia Dortmund off. And I don't think Borussia Dortmund will want to go down without getting a draw in the Champions League game against Atletico Madrid. Gregor Kobel as well, I believe, will be coming back as well. Donyell Malen will be a very, very big game for them. I think only Rodrigo and Kylian Mbappe have recorded more shot-ending carries than Malen in the Champions League this season. So shot-ending carries is when you've been dribbling and you actually take a shot on goal, which actually leads to a goal as well. So Karim Adeyemi, Donyell Malen, Julian Brandt, these are players, Jadon Sancho, if he does start as well, respectively, these are players who can hurt Atletico Madrid on the counter-attack because Atletico Madrid will normally be the team counter-attacking, but this season, as we've seen a lot, Sarah, they're the ones playing attacking football. They're playing a bit more fun than we're used to seeing as well. So Borussia Dortmund may have to change their tactics, their style of play against this Atletico Madrid side as well, because Diego Simeone is not going to spare any quarter at all in this Champions League tie, which would be great fun. But I'm with you. I definitely think Atletico Madrid will win this game, but don't write off Borussia Dortmund just yet. I'm waiting to
yeah.
see who they've got in their starting lineup because that would be a very,
I
very
think so
big game as
too.
well.
It's interesting because both of these teams are in similar positions. They're both in fifth in the league. They're both trying to make that top four spot.
Mm.
Yet they're both still in the Champions League. So they're gonna want to do that because the best thing they could do is win a Champions League and finish obviously in the top four. But it's such a similar situation. Both of them, not doing as well as they usually do in the league, fighting for a UCL position while fighting for the UCL trophy.
It's
Lot of pressure on both these sides.
such big pressure as well. I'm looking at again their striker, the number nine striker, Fulkrug. I don't get why he starts. I know he likes to hold up play, he likes to get the faster players in position as well. But Borussia Dortmund need a better quality of striker. Sebastian Haller, our boy from the Ivory Coast, from the AFCON, is always on the bench for them as well. And I'm thinking this could be another fantastic story that we spoke about last week as well. One of the most heartwarming stories you saw this season. Sebastian Haller coming back from cancer, back into professional football, winning AFCON is not going to win the Champions League. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be blunt about it, but it would be great to see Dortmund in the semi-final once again, and maybe starting Haller over Nicholas Füllkrug as well. I think that'd be fantastic to see from my
Yeah.
point of view as well. It should be great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Again, I will be doing the double screens tomorrow. Of course, Barcelona will be on the big screen, but I had to have both today. I'm so happy I did because it's going to be, even if it's lower scoring for both, you know that there's just going to be drama, and expect all the cards. Expect all the cards in the Atleti tournament game.
It's going to be like a game of Uno. I'll be playing Uno with my cousins at the time when the Champions League will be on as well, and it'll be like yellow card, red card. It's going to happen in the Champions League as well. It's going to be great to see two amazing games again in the Champions League tomorrow as well. I don't think they'll match the hype of
No,
tonight's, because tonight's
no.
was like semi-final
Also,
quality as well, which is great.
don't, because my heart can't at Barca. Like, please, I need.
And breathe at the end, and breathe at the end, which will be great as well. And what has been great is this fantastic live stream that we've had. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been absolutely fantastic getting our live stream on, especially during Ramadan. It's been fantastic to continue doing this as well. And a very big thank you to Sarah Pararia once again for sharing her thoughts and her expertise on UEFA Champions League, which is great. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Do take care. Sarah, any closing messages from you before we wrap up the stream?
Visca Barca, let's go, boys, tomorrow. Get the win.
It's gonna happen. Christensen winner. It's gonna happen. I should be saying this with a Ramage show, but it's gonna happen. Christensen winner. It's gonna happen. I'm expecting it. What's the term they use nowadays? What is it? What do they say? I've manifested it. I've manifested this. Manifested it. Mbappe's gonna score. Then it's gonna be Robert Lewandowski. Then Christensen in the last minute. It's gonna happen. Park the Prince is gonna fall silent. Watch this space, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna happen. Danish Footballer of the Year for a reason. We love to see it. But yeah, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Sarah, thank you as always. Big pleasure as always, my friend.